Hi, welcome to Flight Test. This is the supplementary video for the FT Cruiser.
FT Cruiser indeed, yes. In the FT Cruiser, it is a twin engine. It's the very first twin engine we've done. And there's things that don't exist with normal swappables that need to exist with the twin engine.
Exactly, a Y harness.
A Y harness. And what this does is it takes one battery, supplies your battery voltage to two motors. Now you need to make this, or else you have one motor running and the other one not, and that makes a really worthless twin.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need this.
Yeah, so this is so you can run both speed controllers with one battery in the middle of the fuselage.
Yes, and after this, we're also going to show you how to do differential thrust and also construct the FPV pod and the split flaps for the FT Cruiser.
So this is going to be a fun-packed episode.
Yeah. But first, get your soldering stuff together, and we'll get started on the harness.
Okay, so what you need is 2 pieces of wire. Yep. In this case, we just had some wire laying around.
Yep, the total length of this wire you're going to need is a minimum
of 60 centimeters
or 24 inches.
Yes, and you need 3 connectors.
Yep.
You need 1 battery side and then 2 to the speed controllers.
Yes.
So what we can do here is, since it's in the middle, we can take this wire, then just strip away a part of it in the middle here.
Yes.
So we can start by an X-Acto blade and roughly taking this in the middle here, or actually I'm going to measure.
Yeah, measure 24 first, cut the length, it's way longer.
No, I'm going to do this. I'm going to measure 30 centimeters because that's the length of one.
Okay.
So I'm as efficient as I can be.
Okay.
And then I just cut that afterwards.
Okay.
Just cut the insulation here.
Okay, moving the insulation. It's always a good thing.
Yep.
Don't get crazy.
Yeah, don't get crazy. I'm going to remove about an inch here. Is that an inch?
Yeah, a little bit longer actually.
Actually, I'm going to go with an inch.
Because when you fold it in half, that's a centimeter.
Oh, that's a centimeter?
Yeah. Inches.
Oh, wow, that's an inch.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, actually, yeah. So about a little more than half an inch.
Sure, that looks right. So you're removing the insulation.
Yes, and now.
You're not cutting yourself in the thumb.
Yeah, so
that's a really
don't hold it.
Don't do it that way.
Yeah, don't hold it like this. Put it on your table. But
oh my God.
To show, I'm actually not using a lot of pressure here. Yeah. I'm just slowly going.
The wire you will be. Oh.
So that's good.
Don't do that, guys.
Yeah, I don't recommend.
Put it on the table. He's just doing that so you can see it in the camera.
Okay, so now I remove this piece here.
Yes.
And now we can fold this half.
And you don't want to forget your
heat shrink
tubing.
Yes. So what we're going to do here is going to shove that in the connector here.
Yep. Easy way to get multiple strands in one.
Yeah, without cutting it and losing the integrity of the wire.
Integrity is good.
Yes.
We believe in integrity.
I've seen it.
Is that big enough?
Yeah, I think that's good enough.
Okay.
So
yeah, heat shrink tubing is very important. Now, say you got it all soldered together and you didn't have heat shrink tubing. You could use hot glue, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could. Anything that's insulating is fine.
Okay.
So this is actually a bit tight. If you have
there you go.
A heat shrink that is too tight, but you don't have the next size, or you think the next size is too big, take the heat shrink you already have and take a pair of pliers and you can expand it a bit.
Nice.
Don't do it too much though.
Or it'll rip.
Yeah, but a little bit is fine. It actually slides quite nicely over here now.
Brilliant. Very cool. So if it shrinks, it'll stretch.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Now are you going to the positive then?
Yes. Let's do that. Squish this together a bit.
And if you guys don't have helping hands, you can also take your pliers, your bigger needle nose pliers, put a rubber band around it, and that acts as a pincher.
Yes. Okay, so positive to positive.
Very good.
And I'm going to go ahead, since I already have a pair of helping hands, I'm going to use them. Whenever you solder, always pre-tin everything. That's just good manners. So I'm going to pre-tin that a bit.
Very important.
Yes, I like that.
You didn't flux that, did you?
No, there's a lot of flux in this soldering and this solder.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Now, if you ever had to resolder something, then you would want to use flux so it burns out.
Exactly. Okay. It's only when you apply fresh solder that you get the flux. So put on a healthy amount of... Healthy amount. Yeah, a lot. Like that. Fill it up nicely.
Nice. And now the reason you plug the other end in is so when it gets hot, it wouldn't misalign, correct?
Yes, the plastic can get so hot it distorts, and that is never good. And always use a high wattage soldering iron, otherwise it's gonna get cooled down so quickly, and you're gonna heat it for such a long time. It just never turns out good.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a servo extension.
Yeah, exactly. This is a lot of power.
Okay.
And again, whenever you solder two big things to get together, you should always heat both pieces so they're at the same. Making pigs here of this.
Helping hands are sometimes not so helping.
Yeah, this is because I'm showing the camera as well.
Yeah.
So you always want to heat both pieces before you join them. So you heat them to the same temperature. You shove it in.
I like it how you put one on one side of the soldering iron, one on the other.
Exactly.
And then just push them together.
Because otherwise, if you would have just shoved that wire in the beginning and then applied the solder to it, it wouldn't have flown into each strand as nicely.
Is that where you get a cold solder joint where it looks really good but then just cracks apart?
Both that, it could turn cold because there's so much mass there, but also you can't see if it penetrates in there. You can just have a bubble on the top and it looks fine, it looks perfect, but there's actually only soldered a tiny amount.
Gotcha.
That's why you always pre-tin and look for it and take care so you know it's properly soldered.
And this principle works on all. I mean, we do a lot of multi-copters, we do a lot of different setups. Anytime you have to splice, anytime you have to join wires, it's really crucial that everything has an even connection.
Yes,
especially
you can watch this video here.
Right in front of my face.
Yeah, somewhere here, where we actually talk about this. Didn't we do that?
Yeah.
Shrink this while we're here. Look at that. Doesn't that look nice?
Nice and clean.
It's very nice.
And the best thing is you didn't have to worry about two pieces of wire going in and trying to juggle them back and forth. It's all one constant piece of wire.
Exactly, and this is going to be super strong.
Yeah, very clean.
So very nice. Do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, I'd like to. I get to use Chad's blue wire cutter thingies.
These are the magical cutters.
Yeah.
You only are allowed to cut wire like this kind of wire with.
Not this kind of wire. Don't do this. I mean, he's probably sensing it right now.
Yeah. It's like, there's this disturbance in the force.
Yes. So, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
We're going to measure out 30. What do you go?
30.
30?
30.
All right, 30 it is. Now, you also want to always use stranded wire, not solid wire, correct?
Yes, because solid wire, when you bend solid wire too many times,
it's not solid anymore because it's broken.
Yep, it breaks. The more strands, the softer the wire is going to be, and the longer it's going to hold, because single-stranded is fine for like installation work in walls and stuff.
Because it never moves.
Exactly. In our application, it vibrates like crazy.
Yeah, and we're always unplugging and plugging the batteries and then bending it. You keep in mind, I mean, this is powering your receiver, it's powering your motor. So if it goes out, your motors just don't go out. Everything goes out.
Yeah. Another thing you need to think about is you have two speed controllers powering the radio through the built-in BEC.
BEC stands for what?
Battery elimination circuit. Eliminator? Yep. Eliminator circuit. So you don't have to have a separate battery for your receiver. So normally it's no problem, you just plug this in, but now you have two, and if they are not identical, they will fight each other. If they are of the linear type, you can actually plug them together if they're really close in voltage. So if you measure these, they're gonna work together, because normally on a speed controller there is more than one of those linear voltage regulators because you need more power. This is a speed controller without the heat shrink on it. There's two linear voltage regulators on here. They are matched, so they have roughly the same voltage, so they work together. And if you use two speed controller you bought at the same time from the same manufacturer and everything, they ought to be pretty close. So you can actually run them in parallel, but if you're unsure, just remove the positive from one of the speed controllers. So what you do is just pull that out and you can tape that. You have to do this if you have a switching BEC built in your speed controllers, because switching BECs do not like to be paralleled. So never ever ever do that when you have a switching BEC. Run 2 of them. So always remove that.
This is the way I like it. I don't have helping hands at home, but I use basically just a pair of pliers with a rubber band around it, and you can set it up any way you want. All right, I got the 2 wires tinned. Now, I've never done this before. I'm really bad at it. Now I'm gonna heat up both.
Yeah.
Am I doing it right?
Watch both so they're properly. Okay, I'm gonna give you a tip here.
Yeah.
Add more tin to your
solder.
Yeah.
Because that's where the heat flows through.
Yes.
On the top and bottom.
On top and bottom. That's
all right.
Good.
Cool.
And then the thing that needs most. Yeah, that's good. So you start with the one that needs the most.
All right. Ah, there it goes. How's that?
That's pretty good. Hold it still. Hold it still. Wait for it. Wait. If you move it too much, it's going to create a cold solder joint. And that's never good.
No. Okay. Stress test it.
Actually, you can just take a look at it. This is actually pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm a horrible solderer. Horrible.
That's actually really nice.
Really?
Yeah, you heat it up properly.
Now, I got to be honest, friends. I never tried that technique, but I like it a lot. It's a lot easier than trying to catch it and flow it in and shove it all at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't work that well.
Now, another thing I used to do is I used to take this and hold it vertical, put the wire down in there, and flow them into both at the same time. Is that bad, or is that...
Yeah.
Okay, explain why, because...
yeah, it's bad because you can create a bubble on the top instead of properly getting this everything pre-tinned.
Okay.
So you get a solid flowed out, there's solder everywhere and the whole thing, filling it up, creating a proper bond.
Okay.
Because you could do a solder joint that looks like this,
but
it's only
inside.
Surface.
Okay.
Covering, and it's only on the surface covering it. So that would be really, really bad when you pump current through it.
All right, so now we're going to repeat the same process as we did with this, with these ones.
Yeah, this is just normal soldering like you already done.
Yes.
Probably.
The only difference, it's going to be a different connector. It's going to be
that connector, yes.
Either the male or the female. The jury's still out. I'm sure you guys know. I'm going to guess this is a female.
Yeah, I think so, because it goes
don't
inside
start
of
naming parts. So, long story short, black and red, black and red. Do not go black and black. Simply solder it on, just like this. Heat shrink it, and you're good to go. Well, to recap,
yep.
The end that goes in the battery is in the center.
Yep.
12-inch lengths or
30 centimeters.
30 center, 24-inch total in wire is what you need. So if you're ordering wire, make sure you get at least a meter of each length. That'll give you some room to expand. Always plug in
the other end when you solder a connector.
Whether it's Dean's or XT60 or whatever.
Always.
Just keeps it molded nicely. And then don't forget to put your heat shrink on before you're done. So we have our wire harness.
Yep.
Now it's on to differential thrust if you choose.
If you choose. This is an option, yes. Yeah. If you want to do some crazy maneuvers like those really cool spins.
Pinwheels, flat spins, and knife edges.
But also if you want more control on the ground when you take off, and you have more control when you do rudder turns. It's really nice just to use it in normal mode and not crazy mode.
Yeah, exactly. And I strongly suggest that you guys fly this and get used to it before worrying about differential thrust, because it's something you can do in an evening. There's
exactly.
No mods.
Usually it's plugged in using a wire harness to your
throttle channel.
Throttle channel, yes. But in this case, what you do is you unplug that and you plug them into separate channels. In my case, I use channel 3 and channel 6.
Okay, 3 on Futaba and
1
on Spectrum.
Yes.
Yes.
So you just plug it into an auxiliary channel normally. And then I'm using the Hi-Tech Aurora.
You need a programmable transmitter, and every transmitter is a little bit different. The DX8, we may even be able to make a file that they can download.
That would be cool, yeah. So what I did was throttle 2 is connected to channel 5, and that's connected internally via the programming to the throttle sticks, which is J3 in this case. So normally they work as a normal. You wouldn't notice any difference in this setup.
Okay, it'd just be like you have a stock setup.
Yeah, to get the differential thrust, what I did was I added 2 programmable mixers, one for each of those 2 throttle channels. And if I go into one in normal mode, which is throttle normal, you can see here, I have 2 different flight modes. I have 30% of mixing.
Okay.
So when the stick is all the way over to the one side, it only gives 30% more throttle on that side.
Okay.
That's it. And
Make it feel like it has a bigger rudder.
exactly.
Wouldn't be too crazy, too difficult, but you could do really nice knife edges and taxi it. And things like that.
And hammerheads and
Yes.
really cool stuff.
Okay.
But then you have crazy mode. And then when you flip it into crazy mode, you have 100%, which is a lot.
So basically, when you're at full deflection on your rudder, this is at 100% throttle.
Yeah, and that is on 0.
On 0.
Yeah.
Okay. So long story short, one motor's running full throttle, coupling with the rudder. It's crazy.
It is crazy. So that's why you call it crazy mode.
Okay.
And then I have this set up so I have a safety switch. So you have to switch that switch before this is activated at all. So now it's activated.
Nice.
You can see it moving.
Yes. And this is in 30% mode right now.
This is just 30% mode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So this is 100% mode. Giving,
That's crazy.
that is crazy mode.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
that's giving a lot.
Very good idea. If you can program a safety switch in, that is wonderful because, like, you didn't touch your throttle, you just touched your rudder and it
Yeah.
kicked on. So if you didn't have that feature,
It's, yeah, you can bite yourself pretty hard with those props, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that. So whatever you do is just mix the rudder stick to the motor output. That is it.
very good.
That's pretty straightforward, depending on your radio.
Yes.
So
So if you
you-
have 2 mixes, you should be able to do it.
Yeah, if you have 2 programmable mixers, this is actually one of the simplest mixes you can actually do. It's just
Excellent.
slaving it in a certain percentage.
Excellent. So step by step, you're going to separate the 2 throttle ESCs
Yep.
into 2 separate channels. You're going to slave those 2 channels together, so throttle and whatever auxiliary port you choose. Then
Yes.
you're going to create 2 separate mixes, both talking to the rudder.
Yes.
We are now on to the FPV pod for
Yes.
this. Now, if you guys haven't seen in the build video, just to re-explain here, this nose is removable to interchange with a pod that will then carry your camera. But we didn't want to leave it all open and ugly, and we didn't want to just chop off the front of the nose. So we made this pod, so this will cover the top, but then you have all this cavity here, providing it doesn't go below this line, because that slides back into the wing to put your transmitter and things like that.
Yeah.
And in the back part of your tail, you do have an opening, so it will breathe and allow cooling.
That's cool.
So first thing we need to get the parts. Dave, you want to grab that
Yeah.
plank?
Okay, so this is how your kit arrives. And this is the plank we need. So we can just tear that off. And then
Perfect.
need that. So this is the pieces you get.
These are your split flaps. We don't need to worry about that until after we're done with the FPV pod. We'll just simply fold this out. Now, if you guys have built this airplane or a power pod, you can put this together. It's very easy. But what you do need to have is your plane already built.
Yes.
Because every plane is different, and these are going to be somewhat custom fit to your different designs. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and assemble these 2 pieces. Dave, why don't you grab this? Once again, we'll just fold 180 degrees back, remove the excess foam in the middle.
And since I don't have thumbs, I need to crack them a bit more. And then, because you only cracked it halfway, I need to crack it both ways.
That's because you have no fingernails, huh?
Yep.
So what you need to do before you build the FT Cruiser is grow some fingernails, and you'll be just fine.
So what I do is I fold it so
Nice.
it's in the middle, and then you can use the flat part of your thumb just to pull
So
it
for
off.
Swedish people without fingernails, this is how you do it.
Yep.
If you're American without fingernails, you're up a creek. Perfect. Now, if you notice, we have an A and a B. All right?
Yeah.
You get to do the A. The reason we do the A is we want this to act as a supporting structure for that. We want this to sit on there. If it's a B, there's only shear load holding it. We don't want that.
No, we don't want that. So I'll do that then.
All right.
Oh, see there. I'm
Ooh,
gonna.
you're doing both.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be quick. And this hot glue gun, we need to get a new one. It's dying.
That's crazy. The other one lasted so long, too.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't it amazing how it still gets hot through the paper?
It gets so very hot.
Yes.
Okay, so
You're going to let that stick together?
yeah,
I'll go
I'm gonna
ahead and
hold this and make sure it's 90 degrees.
Once again, the A fold is where the side cheeks go on top of the bottom or top plate. A B fold is where it goes next to it. See, I almost didn't fold them.
Mm-hmm.
It's always easier too when you push the piece of foam that's going next to it against the table. That way you get a nice square edge.
Exactly. That turned out pretty good.
Looks great. All right, we got our 2 pieces done.
Yep.
Now at this point, before we put the top skin on there, now in your kit, you're gonna get 2 pieces. This is for your standard nose. This is for your long nose. Obviously, you can tell we're using a front kit because this one already doesn't exist now. Before we go ahead and put our skin on, what we need to do is we need to make sure that this guy here fits smoothly. Now we cut this actually just a little bit tall, and so it's gonna get a little bit tight, okay? That's because the undercut. All you need to do, run it against the tin of the table, make that terrible, terrible sound.
Oh, that's fine.
You always can remove media, but you can't add on.
Exactly.
So I took the worst possible example and then made it so it just slides nice and easy. So make sure you can slide this back and forth without any issues whatsoever, because if you stick it in there and you can't pull it out, you're going to destroy your nose. Or what I always do is I push too hard and I put little dents right here and here. This only needs to slide in with just the slightest amount of friction. That's why you just keep on removing. You can even sand this if you want. But get this, so when you slide it in, it slides in fairly easy all the way to this point. Matches up exactly with this point.
Oh, okay, cool.
Now that we have this, we can take our, do we have our tape? Extreme packing tape?
Extreme packing tape?
Extreme packing tape works great.
Or do you want that?
Clear tape's fine too.
Yeah. It's cheaper.
It is
and it's
cheaper.
Available everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah, extreme packing tape isn't available everywhere, huh?
No, it's hard to find.
Sorry, yeah, this works just fine.
It's hard to find. It's even hard to find around here.
Crazy how that works out, isn't it?
Yeah.
What I like to do before I put this down is simply just take a piece of tape and I go just beyond the second hole. Just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now, lining up these 2 holes here, just simply press this bottom piece of paper all the way down against the bottom. Now you may have a little bit of tightness fit if you have like glue on the edge. It's not entirely all that crucial. Just get it nice and flat so these 2 holes line up perfectly.
Nice.
The reason why we're going so far back is because this is going to be getting pulled to pull out. We want it reinforced. All right. Cool. Now on the top side, we're simply going to go here. And what I like to do is actually bend this down.
Around the edge there?
Yep. And then just let this come up and meet it.
Okay.
Like that. Because if you go here, then it's just going to pull away.
Yeah.
That way you have a nice solid direction for it to pull. Beautiful. And you're, of course, going to cut out these reliefs. Now these reliefs is either for Velcro strips or zip ties, or for that matter, string if you want. That's just what.
Yeah, so it holds the GoPro.
Yes, it always helps to put a piece of Velcro right here too, just to let your Velcro line up. Because when you slide this in, you can stick your Velcro on, then you can fasten it afterwards. Now that we have this and we have a way to pull it out, we can push it all the way in, just so these guys line up. And if you do this right, all these holes are going to line up all the way to clear to the bottom.
Nice.
Okay, that way you can pass it right on through with no problem. Yep, perfect. Now this is where the fun comes in. Before we do this, we want to get this exactly where we want it. You're going to want to take the barbecue skewer that you used to hold down your current hatch and reuse that, but we're going to use a brand new one just to simply poke these through holes in. And rather than trying to go through both sides, just like on all other builds, you go one side and then to the other. And then you can pin that down. Just like so. We'll just crack that off to make it easy. All right, now that we have this done, our next step will be, and you can see this is just a little bit longer, that way you have something to hold on to.
Nice.
We're gonna pull this back and just put a gentle crease right around our nose. That way it finds our nose. And the neat thing about this is because of the bottom plate, this has already been centered up. As long as you don't twist it too much and you keep it against the body, you're just fine. So we'll pull this over by our hot glue gun. We're gonna put we got plenty of glue.
Yeah.
Nice healthy amount. Keep in mind when this squirts out, you don't want to glue it to your fuselage. That'd be really awkward.
Awkward.
Awkward. There we go. Pull back with nice even pressure. Make sure these contours fall back. And simply stick it right on down there. And you should be able to feel that there's roughly the same amount of space in between the 2 sides. This is cut just a little bit wider, so it gives the illusion that everything's really smooth. If it was slightly the same size, you'd see that foam on the bottom and it wouldn't look good. All right, now that that's glued, we can pull our popsicle stick, or our barbecue skewer. We'll pop this out, and I'm gonna pull this completely out just like this. Makes it easier to work with. And just like we did with our original nose, we're going to hold this back at a slight angle so it has a nice radius. You don't want to crease it. We'll layer
Glue on.
2 beads of glue down. Keep in mind this is what's going to be holding it flush, so you want to do a really good job holding these two guys against each other, pull them apart, and simply roll down, keeping an eye on both sides, making sure that they're parallel with the edge of the paper. You can go back with your hand and just seat it down in there. There we go, we're done.
Nice.
So, the beautiful thing about this, that was not me this time. That was Dusty. See that? One more time?
Yeah. It's nice.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
All right. The beautiful thing about this, you do not need to use a GoPro. You can use a board camera. You can use anything you want. But I like using this cavity space. You're going to have roughly about 4 inches, or I don't know how many centimeters of open area. I'll pack my battery back here. I'll pack my video transmitter, and then let the antenna come out the bottom. And inverted V's, 5.8, all will be nice.
Yeah, actually, you can use a quite big antenna because the wheels on the bottom protects even a 900.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
in the case of the rollover, the wheels are going to keep that off the ground. It's going to roll over on its nose. And even the GoPro, as you can see, is set back just a little bit of ways. So when it hits actually mostly on the nose.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a little bit. And also, if you do use a GoPro, you can actually invert the image on your GoPro.
Yeah, you can set it for up or down.
Up or down, exactly.
So, yeah, so you have the button on the correct side.
Yes.
So you don't...
You don't want to have to undo it and then come back here and, you know, hit it and then fasten it on there.
No,
not
it's
a good
awkward.
thing. So let's go ahead and put it in and see how it looks.
Yeah.
Oh, one last thing we forgot. Before we go ahead and install the top here, we're simply going to just take this and cut it just about flush. I like to go just behind the actual line. And like we did on the original one, we're going to take a little length of tape, fold over the very top of it, and then tape this down.
Make a little handle.
Make a little tiny handle so we don't have to destroy our poster board every time we lift it up and down. Let's go ahead and close this off and see how she looks. Beautiful.
That looks really sharp.
Now always keep in mind, if you're using a board camera, you probably won't have to move your battery at all. But if you're using the GoPro, you're going to have to slide it back a little bit. But always keep it a touch nose heavy, not tail heavy, because when these things get tail heavy, they get very pitch sensitive.
Yes.
And it's flyable, but not fun at all. All right, there's the bottom area. Your GoPro will fasten on just like this. And we actually, when I designed this, I measured it perfectly to the width of the GoPro.
Nice.
Because we thought FPV race would be so cool. Little do we know it wouldn't be a very fast airplane. And here's your open cockpit with, of course, the far back area. If you wish, you can use a dowel and actually pin in the very back, but the friction fit keeps it in just fine. The flow of air, it's never going to come out.
No.
All right.
That's cool.
So we got that done?
Yeah.
Time to move on to split flaps.
Yes.
Alrighty. Alright, it's split flap time.
Yep.
Now for you guys, what a split flap is, it's actually where the top surface of the wing does not move.
Yes.
It's actually a flap, they use them on B-17s, all the big jets have them.
Yeah.
It's just a way of keeping the integrity of the wing and still get the benefits of the flaps.
Exactly.
So what you have in your kit here, along with your FPV pod, are 2 squares just like this. They pop right out. So don't throw this away after you're done with your FPV pod. The flaps are in there. Alright, you get the FPV pod, you get the flaps as well. And these guys are going to go down in here. But before we do that, we're going to put our control horns on.
Yep.
Now, normally I say put your 50 or your bevel cut in here.
Yeah.
There's no need for bevel cuts at all.
This is so simple. It just drops in and tapes in, and that's it.
And once again, this plane flies. It slows down to a crawl.
Yeah, it does.
So this is kind of just a fun novelty. So we're going to simply press this in just like we've done on all of our other airplanes. And as you can see, the control horn once again lines right over top of where we need to be. There's one for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Both these are exact same. What I did is I put the hinge line right in the center because ultimately I want to eventually have some bomb drop options for this thing. I want bombs right where this goes. So I thought the servos going to a center line would be a good thing for release mechanisms. Don't know if we'll ever do it, but I bet you the viewers will probably figure it out pretty quick. All right, we got our 2 split flaps here. That's simply going to slide in.
Yep, like that. And then you put a piece of tape here.
Yep.
And then that's going to be your hinge line.
Just like that.
So, yeah, that's it.
That's
you put
basically
the You see those 4 tiny holes here? That's where you put your servo.
Yeah, and there's no need for any mixing or reversing of your servo because the servos on flaps, unlike ailerons,
both have the same side.
Yes.
So they both move the same direction.
Yeah, ailerons move the opposite direction. So if it was like this, we'd have a problem.
Yeah.
So they're both run the same size, and that's why you're going to see on the plans the servo locations are in 2 different locations on the wing.
Yes.
It's very important to keep this.
What we're doing now is inserting a piano wire so we can pull the wire out through the hole. There we are.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
You can also probably snake it this way and go in the other way.
Yeah.
Whatever works best for you.
Okay, so what we're going to do here, so you want to show that? Do you usually go like that? Or
I
do
usually
you go...
just hook it like in between the wires and let it kind of cradle the wire.
Okay.
Now if you have to pull hard, don't do it.
Yeah.
It means you're snagged on something and you're going to break something.
Okay, get that in the hole. There we go.
Yeah, and there's no graceful way of doing it, so just, you know.
Yeah, take your time. And then just shove that in there.
And it's going to fit just in line with your ailerons. The actual hardware kit includes 4 identical ailerons, 4.5-inch rod lengths.
Yeah.
All right, so those
like
other 2 are
this.
going to go on there.
So yeah, that's the same as these. So you can use those again.
Yep. Before we put that on, go ahead and make sure that, oh, you don't have your top piece on, right?
Nope.
All right, I'm going to go to the very top hole here because we want to get crazy deflection out of this.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get it to work as air brakes, huh?
Did you say you get less deflection when you go on the outer ones?
Oh yeah, you do, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go on the outer ones anyway because it gives you crazy deflection. Now before I press this down, I want to show you, I'm keeping it very close to the inside of the fuselage. There's a good reason for that. The actual landing gear is going to be going in this area and we don't want it to bite with the landing gear.
Yes.
So we're going to keep this in. All we're simply going to do is push it, and the concave of the laser cut kit actually gives you a really nice little seam to fall on there. So if you do this right,
Nice.
you got nice little happy split flaps. And it stops early here just so you don't have it protruding and have any kind of weird synthetic forced flaps. You know, you don't want this to go all the way to the tip because then you actually have a little bit of under camber on the center part.
Yes.
So that's why it ends a little bit low. Okay, well we have our servos in and we are ready now. Just unlike the ailerons, we're going to plug this in the same way.
Yep.
So we're going to do a Y connector. I don't think there's any real benefit in having differential split flaps.
You could if you
Just
want to go
kidding.
crazy. If you have the channels, why not?
Tie it to your rudder and have some fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. Differential thrust, differential.
I wonder,
split flaps.
you know, I wonder if you could make it when you're spinning, if you drop the flaps and stuff on one side, if you could actually make it climb while it's spinning, like a
Oh,
helicopter.
that would be cool.
All right, there's your challenge, guys.
Ah, yeah, try that.
All right, and we're going to go ahead and stick this. I'm going to stick this in channel 6.
Okay.
We'll find out which servo that, or which switch that's controlled by.
You can set that in the tactic radio. You can
Yeah.
set that to any channel.
That is one nice thing. Spectrum, you unfortunately, the only downfall I don't like is you can't assign the channels. And
Yeah, the only thing.
well, you don't like other things, but I quite like the DX8. I like the fact that you can change the servo speeds. I'm yet to find that on the Futaba, and maybe I'm wrong, but the Futaba and the, what do you fly? Aurora.
The Aurora does it really easy.
Oh, does the Aurora do it?
Yeah, you can set up to like 15 seconds.
You know, I'm probably going to have people from Futaba call and saying, it's so easy to do it like this. So maybe Futaba has it, but I couldn't find it on there. And here's the...
Yeah, it doesn't help you if it's super hard to find.
All right. There we go.
And you also might want to add a mix to dial in some down elevator.
Yes.
When you hit those
Yeah,
flaps.
when these guys go, oftentimes the nose is going to kick up, so you mix in your down elevator. So just feel it out, and it depends on how you really want to use it. If you're coming out of a dive and you're pushing down already, just trying to freak people out with the air brakes,
Yeah.
don't really need the down. But if you want to cruise and fly around slow, you definitely need the mix. So once again, it has good effects. It just, you know, it already comes in so slow.
Yeah.
You can really walk this thing in, and it takes off so quickly. But a plane this size with, you know, all the different features, it's kind of cool to have them.
Yeah, it's just fun.
So you guys can try it out and see what you like. The FPV pod's amazing. My favorite, basically, is the differential thrust.
Yeah, it makes this plane crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, we want to thank you guys for watching. Once again, the FT Cruiser is now in our store.
Yep.
And the first 200 sold will actually include the FPV pod and the split flap kit.
So that's added value.
Good incentive.
That's awesome.
And when it's separated in the future, we'll have it in our store as an accessory.
Awesome.
All right.
So thanks for watching. Go to the store, buy stuff. That's awesome.
Chat it up on the forums, equally as awesome.
Yeah, and post articles on our site. We read them all.
We do. And a matter of fact, this wouldn't exist without your guys' articles, because this was a challenge you guys issued to us.
Yes, so thank you very much.
Yep.
And we'll see you next time.
Next time.
Let's
Wanna
go.
go fly?
Yeah, let's try the flaps. What's that?
We'll use that one.
Okay.